going to load this into the refrigerator covered with some plastic wrap, because if you don't cover it with plastic wrap, you're going to get yourself a little skin. And we're just going to leave that covered for about half an hour until it sets up a little more. And make sure not to leave it in there too long because it might deflate a little bit. But you want to wait until you're ready to present it and ready to feed it to your guests before you take it out of the refrigerator for final presentation. So let's take it to the refrigerator. So now we have our chilled mixture. As you can see, it's pretty gelatinous here. It's pretty thick. So what we need to do now is add our diced strawberries. It's better to add them now because otherwise they would get sort of mushy if they're in here, and the goal is to kind of have that fresh texture. And since I'm ready to serve these in a little bit, it'll be a good time to add these strawberries. So just take our diced strawberries. Remember, we still have about a quarter cup reserved for the tops of our parfaits. So we just want to take it, fold it in gently again, because even though it's pretty gelatinous, we don't want anything to fall. And a lot of the volume is because of the cream, but a lot of the thickness and a lot of the sturdiness is because of the Jell-O, the gelatin. So now we have it mixed in here, and now it's time to do the best part and assemble our parfait. So I have these nice little old-fashioned soda glasses, and I'm just going to use a spoon to do each step. So I'm just going to take, I don't know, a little dollop. It really depends on how big your glasses are, how many servings this is going to make. So I took a little dollop, get it down there. Give me a little bit of time here. So get it down there. Then I'm just going to take these crushed cookie wafers. You can find these in any store. You can make them yourself if you really want to. But you can just find these thin chocolate wafers. I'm using chocolate, but you can really use a butter cookie, any other sort of little cookie. Then you just take a little handful. Make sure your hands are clean. This is a great place to get the kids in the kitchen. I like to have a nice little thick layer here because it also looks nice. So you just get a little thick layer of cookies, then top it off. Get another layer of mousse. Let's not be stingy today. This is a nice summer dish. It's really hot out today. I can't wait to eat some of this. So just a little touch on top for effect. Then I have my little diced strawberries that I reserved with a quarter cup. Just grab myself a couple. You can use a spoon, but why use a spoon when you have hands? Stick those on top for a little flavor, just another little layer there. So I just put the diced strawberries on top, and now that was my second to last layer here. Then I'm just going to take a little whipped cream. I made a little extra because I like sticking a little more on top. So I have this nice little dollop of whipped cream. I put a little confectioner sugar in here because it gives a better flavor, because even though there's a lot of sweetness from the strawberries, it's better to have a little extra confectioner sugar because the cream otherwise is a little bland. Just top it off with a little more chocolate wafer crumbs. You can get a little drizzle. So we have this very nice presentation for an interesting and delicious summer dessert. So I look forward to hearing from all of you about how your dish is served and if everyone enjoys this delicious summer dessert. And now I'll be making an apple almond cheesecake. This recipe consists of 3 distinct steps. First, I'll be making the crust with fresh almonds. Then I'll be making the filling, a cream cheese filling with some almond paste to accentuate the almond flavor. And finally, I'll be making a complementing apple topping that will have some brown sugar and will be assembled afterwards. So let's get started. First, we'll be using this cup of ground almonds. I already ground them and actually toasted them in the preheating oven. I ground them to sort of a fine texture. There's still some noticeable granules in here because it's a nice texture, but make sure not to leave them too hardy, otherwise they won't really blend in the crust very well and it'll be sort of a lumpy crust. So I have a cup of the ground almonds. I'm just going to add that to a large mixing bowl. Just get those out of there. Okay. I have some melted butter. It doesn't need to be clarified or anything. It should just be 6 tablespoons of melted butter, pretty close to room temperature, as not to be too hot on your hands a little bit. I have 2 tablespoons packed, important that it's packed, dark brown sugar, and just get those into the bowl as well. We're just mixing all of our ingredients here for the crust. And then I have a cup of ground graham cracker crumbs. It's really good. You can find them in any grocery store. They're already ground for you in the box. If you really want to, you can just take some graham crackers and grind them up yourself. So just have a cup of that right here. And I'm just going to mix these dry ingredients up in a bowl. The butter really serves as the wet ingredient here that's going to bind it all together, but still it's somewhat dry because this is only going to bake for about 6 minutes, depending on how long it takes for your specific pie crust to set. And we'll just continue mixing at this nice brown color. You just want to keep going until you have what looks to be a fairly uniform mixture. Make sure not to get any lumps out. Make sure to get any lumps out of the brown sugar. Okay, I think I got it just about mixed here. Now I'm going to put it in my 9.5-inch springform pan. You can really use anything from 8 to 10 inches. It doesn't really matter. It's just how thick your crust will be. I double wrapped it in aluminum foil because the seal is not very strong or very tight on many of these springform pans. So this will just prevent any leakage and coating the bottom of your oven. So I'm just going to pour my mixture here into the springform pan and just dump it right in. Don't worry about it getting all over the place. Here, just dump that in there. You can either use the back of a buttered spoon or your hands. I'm going to use my hands because it's easiest. And I'm just going to press it in. You want it to be pretty uniformly thin. This is when you'll notice that the size of the almonds are very important, because if they're too thick, then you're not, or too large, you're really not going to get it to press down as easily. There'll be holes because it's not going to be this uniform mixture. So you just press it down. As you can see, it's a pretty thin crust, because this recipe really lends itself to accentuating the cheese portion, the cream cheese. So I think we got it pretty much pushed down here. Now I'm just going to put this in my preheated 350-degree oven for about 7 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, and if it gets to be too dark or too brown, if you notice any burning around the edges, it's really time to take it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the oven. Now I'm going to make the filling of the apple almond cheesecake. I have a food processor here fitted with a blade, and I'm going to start adding my ingredients and blend them up for our nice little filling here. I'm going to start out with some 6 tablespoons of just regular white granulated sugar, just getting it on in there. I have an interesting item here. I have 1.5 7-ounce packages of almond paste. You can really find this in most supermarkets. It's what actually marzipan is made of. You can actually, it's very malleable. You can kind of create those little animals that they make in those nice little pastry shops. So I'm just going to dump that in. It's going to give it a nice thickness, a nice texture. Get that out of there. There we go. Just crumble it up like that, because otherwise it won't really blend. Just get it on in there. Sorry, I'm left-handed. I'm trying to do everything with my right hand. Got it in there. And then I have the best part, which is 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. You can use whatever type you like. Just don't use fat-free cream cheese, because that's going to be disgusting. You really want something full fat here. If you're watching a diet or whatnot, you know, this recipe isn't for you. Try to make something else. So I'm just going to get that on in there. It's kind of big and lumpy. You want it close to room temperature so you can play around with it here. I'm really messing up this food processor, but you know, this is a real kitchen. You know, you have a little bit of mess. It's all right. So let's just get that on in there. Okay, so we got taken care of here with our cream cheese. I'm just going to get that off the side there. I'm going to fit my top on to this here food processor and just start it on. See, if it doesn't go down the side like that, you just keep pushing it down. Since this is such a thick mixture, you just have to stick these in. It's best to combine these drier ingredients before you add your eggs. So keep it in here. I know it makes a lot of noise, but it's worth it. So just keep mixing, just watching. You can watch it with your little eye hole on top. And just blend it. You see it's getting nice. Okay, so now I'm just going to scrape down the sides a little bit before I add my eggs in. Actually, I'm going to use my spatula. Just get the sides down because there's still a little bit of cream cheese that hasn't gotten its way on in. Yeah, it's stuck. Okay, so just clean that off. Side. Now I'm going to add my eggs. I have 4 eggs here. They're organic, cage-free chicken eggs, which means that none of the chickens that these come from are in cages, which means that it's a slightly more humane process. So let's just get our